you're on an island, you're stranded, and your Arduino has been blinking SOS for who knows how long now.
3.67 days.
3.67 days. What do you do at this point? Well, you're armed with your Arduino, and you got an actuator and a sensor. So what we decided to do was we decided to make a signal using a push button sensor, and that controlled a servo motor. So take a look at it right here. So you got your standard breadboard right here, and then over here, this is actually the push button. So we have to connect part of it to the Arduino, and one pin of it goes to pin number 8, while the other goes to the ground. All right, and then you got a resistor right here, 10K, and that's indicated by the bands right here. You just gotta make sure that it is drawing some of the resistance so that the whole thing doesn't get overloaded, and you don't want your servo motor to just continue spinning over and over. But now we gotta take a look at the servo motor, and as you can see right here, it's got 3 different wires: a black, a orange, and a yellow. So with the black wire, actually right here, you see that we connected 3 separate wires over here to the Arduino. So one of them right here is connected to the ground, while the other one is connected to a 5-volt source. And oh, no, excuse me, 3.3 volts. And then finally, the last one is connected to pin number 3. So pretty much the code is actually what makes is what decides when we put in what pin, the wires in certain pins. You got to key into the code which pins you want to activate. So we made sure to do that in the code right here. And
okay.
Yeah, so you take a look at it real quick, and it seems like a lot of confusing things, but right now servo.h is pretty much a library that you're importing, and that library is what contains all the functions we need to run the push pin servo motor. So over here we're initializing that we're assigning the push button pin and the servo pin. So the push button pin is on pin 8, like I said before, and the servo pin was on pin 3. So servo calls this library, and this is a variable. And over here we're initializing a counter, and then void setup is where the code actually gets started. That's where you're actually getting everything set up over here. So we got your inputs right here, and this function right here, servo.attach, just means that you're attaching a servo variable to a pin. So we have our pin mode, and this is our input variable, and then we're gonna continue to loop it. So yeah, if you can just go down a little bit. All right. And then, so now we have to have a void loop so that it loops the push button states. Button state is local variable to hold the push button state. And digital read is just a function that pretty much just reads the pin. So over here, low indicates a low voltage state, otherwise known as 0, and that is when the pin is not being pushed. So with the counter, there's going to be a counter, and that accounts for the delay in between the back and forth movement of the servo motor. And over here, pretty much we say that when the button is pressed at 0 or the low delay, or low, it's supposed to delay, and if the counter is equal to 0, we want to reset it to 0 degrees. So these numbers right here don't actually indicate pins, but they actually indicate the degree movements of the servo motor. So once we demonstrate right now, you'll be able to better visualize how the servo motor goes back and forth. And let's go down over here. And yeah, so more of a series of if-else statements that allows it to continue to loop. So let's demonstrate right now.
Wait, hold up. One extra thing that we have is this else statement. So when it's done, the thing will automatically reset itself to the beginning state at theta is equal to 0 degrees. Okay. Now here, so the button is the sensor and the actuator is the servo motor. Okay?
Another?
Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah. Alright. See?
And so we gotta know that the black wire actually connects to pin 1 of the switch, so that and then the ground pin is connected to the Arduino. The yellow wire is connected to pin 2 of the switch, and to pin 8 on the Arduino, and then you just connect the 10 kilo ohm resistor. The resistor really just serves as a purpose to just make sure that not too much voltage is being supplied. It just draws the current away, thus allowing it for the movement of the servo motor. Otherwise, it might spin too quickly or cause an overload, which is what happened prior. But yeah, just taking a look at it. All we need to do, this is the computer that supplies the voltage source. So, and then 5 volts is the maximum voltage that it can go at, and then we have to also connect it at 3.3 volts, which serves as a minimum voltage. And that just says that you got these limits that cannot exceed or lower in a certain amount of time for the whole thing to get overloaded. And then so let me just demonstrate one more time, and just to say,
I'll give you the short version. So sensor, actuator, commands, and the brains behind it. Stay easy.
Yeah. So I'm glad you joined us today. And I hope you just got to, really understand how it works with an Arduino microcontroller setup. Thank you.